This is a yoga flow that is focused on the mobility of the shoulder. So if you do have time to grab a few props, I would recommend any kind of, if you have a yoga strap, that's great, or if you've got a kitchen towel, bath towel, belt, scarf, anything that you can think of, and maybe a block or a bolster, cushion, any kind of pillow that you have. You don't need any of this, but it'll just make the practice a little bit extra juicy. So to begin, we are going to, you can come to a comfortable seat, whatever feels good for you today. I'm just going to be kneeling, but you can sit, cross-legged with legs out in front or whatever feels good. And we're going to begin with some simple neck rolls. So inhaling, dropping the right ear to the right shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, left ear to left shoulder. Back as you exhale, dropping chin to chest. Inhale, right ear to right shoulder. Nice and slow here. Trying to move with your breath. You know, everything is interconnected, so a lot of times we've got really tight neck muscles. That's going to move down into the shoulders. Just a few more here. And your next inhale, rising the head just to sit comfortably back on top of the shoulders here. You're going to take your left hand to the front of your right chest and almost kind of put a little bit of traction there by pushing into the chest and pulling down, and then dipping that left ear to the left shoulder again, trying to keep that left shoulder down. And just hopefully feeling a nice stretch, some traction through the outer side of the right neck. Continuing to breathe. Good. Inhaling to lift your head back up. And we're going to do that on the other side. So right hand coming towards the left side of the chest, pulling down, providing a little bit of traction, and then dipping the right ear to the right shoulder. You can give yourself a little massage here too. Hopefully feeling a nice stretch along the left side of the neck. Good. Inhaling to rise back up. And just take a minute to kind of loosen the jaw up a little bit. Perform a little self-massage down the neck. Try and release any areas of tension here. Good. Then we're going to move down into the shoulders, rolling out the shoulders a little bit. So inhale, let the shoulders fall forward and then rise up. Exhale as the shoulder blades retract down and back. Moving in just one direction for a few breaths. Inhaling, letting those ears rise, or letting the shoulders rise up toward the ears. Exhaling, pulling them down and back. Reverse your direction. So inhaling, letting the shoulders move back and up towards the ears, and exhale, letting them round forward and down. Any movements here that feel good. You can get the arms a little bit more involved if that feels nice. Any little shimmy or shake that feels good for you. And then we are going to come to knees together. You can keep your toes together, or knees together or wide, toes together at the back of the mat. You're going to walk your hands forward, keeping some engagement through the arms here. So stay tinted up on the fingertips a little bit as you sink your chest down for a child's pose. Just a breath here. And on your exhale, walking your hands over towards the left, really trying to reach through that right hand, through those right fingertips. Finding as much space as you can through the right hip and the right hip and the right hand. Good. Exhale, walking back through center. Just a breath here. And exhale, walking over towards the right. Trying to find as much length as you can through that left side. Keeping some engagement through the arms here, staying up on the fingertips. See if you can really push down a little bit more through that left shoulder, bringing the left armpit closer to the mat. Good. Inhale, come up a little bit as you walk your hands back towards center. You're going to come up, lift your hips up for more of a tabletop pose. Walking your hands forward a hand's length or so. And you're going to sink your hips back down for your puppy pose. And keeping that engagement again through the arms, you can come up onto fingertips or just making sure you're pressing strong through those hands there, strong through those shoulders. Good. Now we're going to round through the spine. Think cat pose, dipping the chin to the chest, trying to round through the upper back, round through the lower back, and tucking the pelvis. Tailbone reaches in between the knees. So you're in your cat pose, and then try and keep that roundiness of the spine, keep that cat pose as you try and push your shoulders, push your armpits closer down to the mat. Don't forget your breath here. Big, deep breath in. Exhale. See if you can soften. Keep that roundedness. One more breath. Inhale. Exhale. Let go of that roundedness of the spine. You can sink the chest back down to the mat. You can rest your forehead on the mat or extend the neck to rest the chin down on the mat. Sink a little bit deeper. We're going to round through the spine one more time. So we're closer to the ground now. But try and round through that spine, tucking the chin into the chest, really trying to round through the lower back. Tucking the pelvis, tailbone tucks in between the knees. And then once you've got that position of your cat pose, again, seeing if you can push down through those armpits, see if you can get them closer to the mat. And breathe. One more breath. Good. Inhale to rise. You can keep that roundedness as you're going to come through your cat pose and then sink your hips down to the mat. Bend those elbows as you slowly lower down. Bringing your elbows underneath your shoulders, hands out in front for your Sphinx pose. Just looking down at the mat in front of you or at the wall ahead. Really pulling your elbows and your hips towards one another. Shining that chest forward. Good. Inhale here. And exhale. Release your hands down to the mat. You can bring the arms back behind you here, just down by your hips, and shimmy out those shoulders a little bit, letting them round forwards now. Good. Any little wiggles you need. Then bringing the arms out to either side of the mat, elbows pointing up towards the sky. Inhale, we're going to lift the chest. You can push through those fingertips. Exhale, look over your left shoulder as you dip the right shoulder in towards midline. Good. Inhale to rise back up. Exhale, looking over the right shoulder as you dip the left shoulder. Getting a little internal rotation here through the shoulders. Inhale to rise one more time each side. Exhale, twist, letting that right shoulder come forwards. Inhale to rise. Exhale, dip the left shoulder as you gaze over the right. Inhale to rise. And exhale, just coming back down to a prone position. You can put your hands one on top of the other, resting your forehead down on your palms. Shake out the shoulders, shake out the hips a little bit. Just take a breath, take a moment to reset. All right, rising your head back up off your hands. You're going to extend your right arm out to the right side so it's kind of in a perpendicular to your body. Left hand just on the outside of the mat. You can push into that left hand and push into that left foot to roll over onto your right side, using that left toe as a little kickstand. Just a nice big chest opener here on this right side. You can relax your head down on the mat. You can use a block or a cushion of anything to rest your head on. Just going to wherever feels comfortable. Again, you can use that left hand to give you a little bit more oomph if you're looking for a deeper stretch. Good, last breath here. Exhale, coming back onto your belly, extending the left arm. We're just going to do that on the other side. So inhale here, exhale, pushing in through those right fingertips, letting the right foot come back as a little kickstand, coming up onto your left side. And just turning however far feels comfortable for you. You can also use some cushions in front of you, like in front of your chest, in front of your belly, if you just want to relax into that a little bit more, if this is a little too intense. Good. Coming back onto your belly. Then planting the hands under the shoulders, tucking the toes. You're going to push into the hands, sending your hips back towards your heels. And we're going to set up for our down dog here. So like I was talking about in the last video, if you watched it, we want to externally rotate through the shoulders here, pronate through the palms. So we want our palms flat on the mat, grip through those fingertips, push, push, push through your shoulders. You can think of coming into kind of like a cat pose here. You can round through the spine, let those shoulders come up to the ears. Inhale here. Exhale, lift those knees as you push your hips high, straightening out your spine. So hopefully you're feeling really stable here. If you're not, try and push, push, push through those shoulders a little bit more. You can get those up towards the ears. Nod your head yes and no a few times to make sure everything's nice and soft through the neck. Bend your knees generously as much as you need to send those hips high. Finding nice long length through the spine. Good. Now keep this length through the spine. And again, bend your knees as much as you need to slowly walk your feet forwards. Coming into right behind the hands. Release the hands. Let the head and shoulders hang heavy for your forward fold. You can sway a little bit side to side here, just letting it all hang loose. Nod the head yes and no a little bit again. Dip the ear to each shoulder. Just relaxing all the tension through that neck, through those shoulders. Good. Exhale. We're going to come back down to a kneeling position. And if it's available to you, here you can grab your towel, strap, anything that you've got. If you don't have this, it's not necessary, but it might help you find just a little bit more activation, a little bit more of a deeper stretch. So we're going to do, it's called your cow face arms. So whatever arm we're going to raise one arm overhead and one arm behind the back. whichever arm you're raising overhead first, put the towel in that arm. So we are going to, and actually I'm going to turn this way. So we'll raise the right arm overhead first. So we're going to externally rotate through the shoulder. Flex as we raise the arm up overhead. Bend the elbow. Left arm extends back, internally rotates, bend the elbow. You can grab your hands if they can already reach, or just grab that towel or anything, any prop that you're using, or just energetically pull towards one another if you're not using anything. And breathe here. Your exhale, release, and we're going to switch sides. So coming back, we're going to externally rotate, flex with the left arm, and bend. Right arm extends, internally rotates, and then bends. Again, I notice a lot more issues with my left or with my right shoulder. So this side is a lot more difficult for me, and you might notice that in your body. One side feels more difficult than the other. Just returning to that breath, breathing into any uncomfortable sensations. One more time each side. So let go of the towel with whatever arm is elevated. I'm going to, on the right side, externally rotate the arm, flex the arm overhead, bend the elbow. Left arm extends behind, internally rotates, and bends. And it might take some shimmying if you're using a prop, to grab hold of it. You can also just grab hold of your clothing. Last breath here, letting go of your prop with the top hand if you're using it. Undoing the bind, externally rotating with the left arm, flexing overhead, bending the elbow, extend the right arm, internally rotate, and bend the elbow. Good. Last breath. You can release the bind there, moving any prop that you're using off to the side. Swing your hips to one side, feet over to the other, and come back to a seated position with your feet flat on the mat, arms behind you here. You can have your fingertips pointing towards your heels. They can point out to the left and right if that's more comfortable. But notice what position your shoulders are in when you've got your arms in extension here. They like to internally rotate. So let them do that, and you can just kind of wiggle around in this position a little bit. You can roll the shoulders. You can round through the spine here. I get a really nice stretch through my upper back when I just kind of let the chin hang, round through the back, and really let my shoulders rotate in. Good. Any last little wiggles? And we are then going to, if you have a prop, we are going to come into, you're going to place that prop behind your back here. I'm using a bolster, or if you're using any kind of cushion or pillow, place it long ways so your spine can lay along that. Or if you're using a block, you can place the block there, and you're going to slowly lower down for your supported fish. And this is just a nice chest opener. You might have to do some adjusting for your props. You might like it higher up on the spine. You might like it closer down by your lumbar spine. I don't mind the block, but I think a pillow or a cushion is just a lot more comfortable. If you don't have a prop that you're using today, just come on down to your Shavasana, extending your legs out long, arms out to either side. If you are using a prop in your supportive fish, this is where we're going to end our practice. So you can keep your feet flat on the floor, knees up towards the sky, or extend your legs out long. And just taking a few moments to notice how you feel here. Notice if your shoulders feel any different after giving them a little bit of love, a little bit of attention. Hopefully they're feeling nice and warmed up and felt stable in a lot of those poses. Just a few more breaths here. And if you're ready to end your practice, you can slowly and carefully just come back up to a seated position. Give those shoulders one last little wiggle around, and drop any comments or questions that you have below about the shoulder if you're having any kind of shoulder pain. Hopefully this helped, and thank you for practicing. Namaste.